Co-main event, Joe Pyfer coming back into action at minus 450 against Abdoul Alhassan, sitting at plus 325. Over under 1.5 rounds, plus 175 for the over, minus 215 for the under. Joe Pyfer, 4-1 in his last 5, undefeated in the UFC. Abdoul Alhassan, 38 years of age. I didn't really realize he was that old until I started looking at him recently. But yeah, he's been around for a decent amount of time. UFC career has kind of been up and down. He's getting a spot here against Joe Pyfer. It looks like a good spot for Joe Pyfer because you see the height and reach advantage. He's usually going to want to keep this on the feet and stand and bang it out. Abdoul does have some pretty good power. But it's an uphill battle, I would say, for him in this one against Joe Pyfer. Should be a good scrap nonetheless. Another wide line. So, taking Joe Pyfer isn't saying anything crazy, but you giving the dog any chance in this one?
Realistically, I don't think he pulls it off. But, I mean, he is one of the guys that if you are betting on a dog, he has qualities that you like to see. He's got the power. He hits really hard. I mean, we saw him against Claudio Ribeiro was kind of a prospect in Abdul's last fight. And he just, put it on him pretty damn early under the fight and, kind of broke him down and finished the fight. But Joe Pyfer just seems like the guy who he's got whatever it is that makes guys stars in the UFC, what makes guys go on these, 6, 7, 8 fight win streaks. He seems like he's got the complete package. I'll go back to the Gerald Meerschaert fight when, he wins in the first round and goes into Gerald's world in grappling and beats him in a grappling match too. Like, I think people forget that Joe Pyfer has good wrestling and grappling abilities. And if he gets to that point in this fight against Abdoul, I think he's going to have his way with him, honestly. We've seen Abdoul struggle with wrestlers like Jacob Malkoun before. Joe Pyfer, you might be so worried about that big right hand coming in that he can take you down and then land ground and pound. Like, I think this is just a bad matchup for Abdoul all around. Like I said, he's got the power. He can land that shot, maybe put Joe Pyfer down, but Joe Pyfer's a tough dude too. We haven't seen anybody really crack the chin ever. Regional scene, contender series, he got hurt, which is why he has a TKO loss. And other than that, nobody's really been able to figure it out. So, yeah, I think Joe Pyfer wins. Big favorite kind of sucks betting-wise. I wouldn't play the dog here. I think Pyfer comes out, makes a statement, and just keeps climbing up the ranks.
Yeah, I think it's a good matchup for Joe. Abdoul, dangerous with that power, but I don't think he's going to be able to land anything like too crazy on him because Joe – he fights pretty long, and he's got pretty technical striking. I mean, he's a big dude who has big power, but he picks his shots pretty well, and that was really one thing that stood out to me when I was watching his tape, especially in the last fight against Meerschaert, because he knows Meerschaert's probably going to look to try to take him down. He was pretty patient with it, picked his shots, found his shots, and landed them pretty flush. Abdoul Razak, a negative strike differential, that's always something that I look at. It's like, if you're looking at a dog, if they got a negative strike differential, it's kind of, wanes me away from looking at that even more. And the big age differential, we always know that stat. It's like 67% or whatever when the winner is younger by 6 years or more. It doesn't look like a fight that I'd be too interested in taking the dog. So I got to go with Joe Pyfer. He's been through a lot in his life. And I always watch his podcast with Sean Brady, and he seems like he's got a good mentality, a good team around him, and it's encouraging for his UFC career. So I'm going to go with Joe in this one. I think he probably gets Abdoul Razak out in the first or the second round. I do think he's going to come to try to bang it out, and I do think he'll probably get the better of the exchanges and put him away.